For me, for as long as I can remember, I've always had a passion for doing evangelism. I remember one family camping trip to Pigeon Bay several years ago, quite a few now, and I became friends with another camper, as you do. And my desire was to, at some point, share the gospel with him. After much nervousness and trying to do something, I finally asked him if he believed. I don't remember exactly what I said. I don't remember exactly what he replied, except that he didn't believe. I don't remember what I said after that, and it probably wasn't more than a sentence. But what I do remember was the desire that those who didn't know God, who didn't know the gospel, would. And that desire never left. However, I had a problem. I can be a very cautious person. I never just go out and start something without having a pretty good idea of how I was going to do it, especially evangelism and especially street evangelism. So on my own, there was no way I was ever going to start doing evangelism. And I prepared in my own small ways. I read some books about evangelism. I carried tracts around in my backpack just in case, but I never used them. What I really needed was someone or some people who would show me how to go about doing evangelism. So I knew some people who did, Sophie and others, but for a while I didn't pluck up the courage to ask about getting involved. So then last year I went to the Taumi conference 2015 and I was hooked. I found some people, Glenn and Andy, who could show me how to go about doing evangelism, in particular street evangelism. They didn't throw me in the deep end and say, here's a flip chart, go, but they let me take my time, and as I was ready to go a step further, I could feel the temperature and feel the waves lap against my feet and just going there and observing, and then as my confidence grew, they let me wade into the water, just handing out tracts and standing by the flip chart and listening. I learned to float, answering a couple of questions with Andy or Glenn standing right beside me to bail me out of all the tough ones. And it's taken quite a while, but I'm learning to swim. I haven't mastered free stroke and I'm still away from backstroke, but I'm learning to swim. I can present the law and the gospel and leave people with a challenge, and that's progress. So there's many ways to do evangelism. The main way that I've been doing it is street evangelism with Taumi, using the flip charts with either one-on-one or group conversations, and sometimes they're really good and sometimes they're really, really good. But really, evangelism is a much bigger topic, much bigger thing than just street evangelism. So the most evangelism I probably do would be in the home or with my younger brothers and sisters or in the local church in the kids program. So that's all evangelism. Evangelism does produce fruit, and we've been talking about and Engage this year, the fruit of wise choices. But the fruit of evangelism isn't really about me and the fruit that comes to me. In evangelism, the fruit that I'm seeking is the glory of God, that the gospel would be presented and that the lost would come to know him. And the fruit that has been produced is that God has been glorified, the gospel has been presented, and I don't know whether from what I have, from the conversations that I've had with people, whether anyone has come to believe from that, but I pray that the seeds that I've planted, that God would grow them. And so I would encourage all of you to, if God has placed in your heart a passion for evangelism, then come and learn and come and do it. Come and join in the harvest.